Just please let the organizer know if you would like the recording of this meeting.
Madhu?
Yeah.
But you are organizer already.
Yes, but somehow it's showing the message.
I don't know. Okay, so I will record it from here and I'll send it to you. Okay. So
Okay.
anyways, today we're going to talk about a few things. Today we're going to finish this advanced Git, shell scripting, fundamental of shell scripting, and then finally the pipeline stuff. So before starting, do you guys have any questions on this? Okay, so let's get started then.
Okay.
Okay, so let me look at the agenda. As we have already discussed about Git, so some of the things which you have already discussed, just help me to escape it, so it will save our time for other topics. Okay, so history, Git history. So as you must be knowing, actually we started the first source code management tool was SCCS, and then it got evolved to RCS, and then CVS and SBN, and now we have a Git. One important thing, like the one which we are talking about as part of history, is open source tools. So we are only talking about the open source tools as part of the history is concerned. All these tools were based on the server and client architecture, except the Git. So Git has a lot of changes in terms of architecture and stuff like that. Why Git was evolved? Because Git was written by Linus, and Linus was using BitKeeper for their source code management. They were managing the Linux kernel source code using the BitKeeper, and at that time BitKeeper was allowing the open source project to use it without any cost. But later point of the time, BitKeeper started charging for this. So Linus decided to develop their own tools instead of getting dependent on that, because you know that Linux is open source tool, and they cannot afford paying so much of money to the BitKeeper or any commercial organization. So they decided to launch their own tools, and this got invented in April 2005. So Git was born, and you must be thinking like, why Git Linux was using BitKeeper instead of SVN, CVS, and all that stuff, which were available freely. As you know, like these tools were not distributed at that time. Only the BitKeeper was the distributed machine, and it was not complete distributed software. It was a partially distributed software, and that's the reason Linus were using BitKeeper. So Git was developed in 2005, and it was a truly distributed source code management tools where there's no one point of server or something like that. Okay, it's become popular because of so many other advantages, among them like it's a distributed open source solutions, free of cost. It's driven by millions of developers, you know and you have a fixes, you have a new features add on. It is very fast, it is very compatible, learning is faster. So all the stuff which made that Git popular. And we have already discussed about the distributed, I believe. So why it is distributed? So do you mind sharing, like, why do you feel like this is distributed, Git is distributed? Anyone?
Mm,
Madhu, Sridhar?
No.
So I think, okay, so we'll have to, repeat, and then maybe some do practice also, because I remember I had discussed about this one in our first or second chapter itself. So Git is distributed because it's based on the server and client architecture. Sorry, I mean, Git is distributed because it's not based on the server and client architecture. You must be noticing, if you're using any tools like Perforce, SVN, CVS, and all, you have a server, and then all the clients get connected to the server for any operation, no matter where it's seeing the diff, seeing the file, checking out, checking in, or anything, any operation, seeing the diff and all. But for Git, you don't have to do, you don't have to depend on any server, because everything is local. So you must be remembering, like, the moment you create a repository, in Git you create a repository. In SB and any other tool you create a workspace. Okay, so and because repository which has a database file and the file system all together, it is available for you whatever you want to do. But Git has some limitation, like in terms of sharing collaboration, but with the local repository. But when you start using it remote repository, then your collaboration will become a much easier. So that is why the Git is distributed, because it's not based on the sovereign client model. So if even though your GitHub is down, still you can add, commit, view, edit, diff, branching, merging, anything you can do. That's not at all dependent on the GitHub server or any other server. No. So that is why Git is distributed. Who should use it? Anyone who wants the versioning to be done. Okay, most of the time it's been used by the developers and programmer, but Git is not helpful for the images, movies, music and fonts. It is basically meant for the text based file, because you can see the difference, and uh, you can Git will optimize the compression, stuff like that, but Git will not help you to manage the versioning of the image and versioning of the movies, music and fonts. Why? Because these are executables actually. Okay, and we one of the important things, like, it's distributed, and that's the reason no network needed, because it has their own repository in local, and then you use for the performing the dip and viewing the file history and any sort of things like committing, branching, merging and sort of things. Everyone must have installed like Git, and Git installation is very pretty much simple. We create a repos using Git init, so I'm not going to repeat the same thing which you have done it. And the Git repository. So the moment you create a Git repository using Git init, you get a certain files and directory under .git folder, and that will be hidden. You have to see it by using that. You have to enable that this hidden option. So in Linux, you put it ls space minus l hyphen la. A stand for showing the hidden files and folder. So objects. In Git, everything is being stored as objects. Okay, and these objects is been created by the SHA-1 algorithm. Okay, so SHA-1 is the algorithm which Git is using internally, and the moment you do any operation like commit or adding files or modifying files or something like that in repository level, it create a checksum. So checksum has been created by SHA-1. So remember, SHA-1 is an algorithm which Git uses it to create a checksum. Checksum is nothing but a 40 character hexa non-decimal values. Okay, and it is the kind of pointer which identify what is the relation between the last commit, what file it was committed, who has modified, what time it was modified, and what was the difference added, maybe addition, deletion or something like that, as part of the meta information that this 40 character checksum has it. So SHA-1, every object has a three things: blobs, which is the content of the file; trees, which is the kind of relationship between the all other commits; and the commit message, like who has message, who has commit, and what time it committed, and tags. Okay, that's all about the object. So every time whenever you do any operation, it gets commit, it's create an object, and that object is lying under objects folder. You don't have to worry about it, because it's been created by the Git and manages by the Git itself. So just for information, how it's been created, it's been created by SHA-1 algorithm. They create a algorithm, they using SHA-1, they create a checksum. Checksum is nothing but a 40 character value which you identify as a commits. And in a simpler word, if I say, it's not revision, It's a commit actually, it's a checksum, but in a simpler way you can also consider as a revision, but to be honest it's not revision. Okay, you can configure your Git in a various ways actually. So there's a three kind of Git configuration allows. One is system level, another is user level, and another a third one is a project level. So suppose if you are working on 10 different repository, okay, and for 10 different repository your username might be different, okay, for each 10 of each. So it's better to put it your username in a project level. The project level is located under the .git folder, Git directory. The file name is config. So underneath you, if you add it like username, user email ID, or any aliases as such, then it will be active for that specific project. But what about your machine has a 10 different user? Okay, so setting up their own profile is better. Okay, so you can set it under the user folder, that's called user home folder, and there'll be one hidden file will be the .config. If sometime it's not available, just you can create it and Git will start reading that file, okay, before doing any operation. Okay, and third thing is a system label. So system label is something like where you define the global variables. Okay, global variables. It could be your shortcuts, aliases that we call in Linux, or some variables. So for example, I'll give you a scenario. In a one machine, if you have a 10 user and everyone is working on same repository, but everyone has a different account, then you can set the repository path in remote repository path in system label, username in user label. Okay, so that way you can manage it. Username and user email address in different level. But if one user is working on different uh, repository and their username is different, then they should use the project level. So this is the way you define that in user label. Okay, how can you access this variable? So it's very simple. Git space config space hyphen hyphen system. It will display the system related variables. And git space config space hyphen hyphen global, it will display the user level, and then git config will display the uh, project level. Okay, so let me just run the few programs here, so you might able to find out. Mkdir git, and I get into Git, I create one repository, and so if I want to see that I create a repository here, ls-la, and if I want to see that system level, git config system hyphen list, and it will display the list of variables which I have defined under the system. Okay, you wanna see that this folder, so you have to go to git config file. Okay, more is not supported, so I have to use cat. And here the, so whatever you can see the command using the git config hyphen list here, that is set in this file, and you can see this. Okay, so same with, let me go to back, and if you want to see that user level, so git config, and in user we use global, and then list will display that. So we have only two setup, Rajesh at the rate of email address, and default push.default is a simple. Okay, and if you want to see the project label, git config list, and here is the project level. So these all are active in project level. So that is how you can set your configuration in Git. Make sense?
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Next thing is how to add that thing. So there's a two way. Either you go to these files manually and you add it manually whatever you want. But if you feel like you have a you want to do it through Git, so through Git you can do that. So Git space config hyphen global, and whatever name and value you want to add it, you can add it. Suppose if you want to add username, user.name. Here user will be a section, name will be a variable name. User.email, it will become like that. If you want to see that, list it. So this is the way you can set that. So what are the thing? What are the configuration you can add normally? You can add your editor, you can add your shortcut commands, or you can add aliases and sort of things. That is possible. Okay. So for example, here global score.editor you are adding. So you are editing Vim. So that way you can as you can add as many you wanted. Okay, there's a various things we can add, section dot key, like section subsection key and sort of thing. So it's up to you, whatever you want to add it is completely depends on the project basis, but you have to make sure like whether you are adding in system or user, which is global, and the local level. Okay, next thing is a priorities, which one will be given a priorities. So if you have set the same variable, for instance, if you have set the same variable in all these three places, so what about which one will be considered? So of course that the project label will be considered, and that has a highest precedence in terms of if you are setting the same variable or same aliases or same uh, configuration in all these three places. So highest will be the project label, next will be user, and the least will be the system label. So just be sure about it. And many times if you are working in the complex environment, you might face this issue. Git workflow. We have already completed this Git workflow that's include that creating a repo, adding few files, committing it, and then working with the remote repository like cloning, pulling, and pushing it. So any questions around on this Git basic typical workflow?
Yeah, no, this is good.
Okay, and I have explained you also what is the difference between this working directory, staging, and repository. So this concept is very much important. So the moment you start working on, so I believe like you guys have not started working on it, but keep on doing some activities, and like adding the files, committing the files, removing the files, destroying the files, making some mistakes, and that will make you very comfortable. So this concept has to be followed throughout the issues resolving and troubleshooting and stuff like that. So if you're not aware of this concept, most of the issues will not be able to resolve. So if you have any question, you can ask me on this. Okay. So any branch which that we call it head, any branch which is the top commit, which is considered to be a head of that particular branch. Okay. So but it's something like okay, I am sorry about it, it's not a top commit, it's a top whichever you check out. Suppose if you have check out the branches and the last commit will be the top head of the branches, but if you have check out the older one, then last revision or last checksum of that checkout will be your head revision. So be mindful about it. Okay, and the reference of the head, if you're confused like which is my head and stuff like that, it's easy to find it. Here if you go to .git folder, there's one file called head. So if you do the cat head, it will display you which is your head. So as of now, master is your head, and underneath the master, whichever the commit will be there, it will be different. As of now, in this repository, there's no commit, so that's the reason it's not showing. Okay, just okay. So next thing is apart from that, we have to learn multiple things. like how to remove the files, how to rename the files, and the status we have already done. So removing the file is as easy. Let me show you. So before that I have to add the file1.txt, touch file2.txt, git add dot get commit. I'm just doing some sample file, git status. Now I have two files in my my repository, file1 and file2. So I want to remove one file. So git rm file1, and I just did it. Git status, if I do that, it will tell you this file has been deleted, and also it will tell you what you need to do that. So if the moment you run git rm file name, then it's gone into the staging area to perform the deletion. Okay, so if you want to revert your delete, then you have to git reset. Remember I had explained you, did I explain you reset, revert, clean, all that? Guys?
No, I don't think. Reset? You talking?
Git reset, git clean, git revert, did I talk about it?
I think this session I was not there, Rajesh. I cannot recall this.
Okay, okay, fine, no
I think this is
problem.
the first session. First session, I think I was not there that time. So
Okay, got it. Okay, so I can cover this, not a problem. Just a second, let me. Okay, so we'll cover it look quickly. Okay.
yeah, okay, sure, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what I was doing here, so I am just deleting the file and just commit m and removing. So I just remove the file and done. If I do the git status, it shows everything is up to right. So that way you can remove the file from the git repository and commit it. Okay, git remove. You can also do the git rename. So this time I have a file 2. So git mb file 2. Oops, sorry. Okay, and now if I do the git status, it says rename. So now I have to commit it and rename, and now it's done. So that way you can rename the file, you can delete the file, that is. So let me talk about something related to this concept, clean, reset and revert. So before that, let me talk about this one. So okay, so remember, if you want to, you have to just concentrate here, whatever I'm trying to say here. Whenever you want to get rid of the file which is there in workspace, okay, so if you have a file in working directory which is not gone to staging area, and if you want to get rid of the file, then you use git clean. Okay, whenever you have a file in staging area, that file might have added using git add command, or it might be added using git rm command, or you might have added using git mb command. That command will move the changes to staging area to get it committed, and it will go to the repository. But by mistake you want to get rid of that. Suppose you have done the you have done the action adding, removing or renaming. By mistake you want to get it back to working directly, then you do the git reset. Okay, but whenever you have already committed it in repository, so that you cannot do anything. You have only one option change remain, that is called revert. So revert will create a new commit. Okay, I'm telling you, revert will create a new commit, and it will be reverted with the last known commits. Okay, so make sense?
Like undo, basically like undo.
Undo, see, undo is having confusion here. In this concept, undo will not work.
Okay, okay.
Undo means suppose if you have added few files in working directory, you have not sent to staging area. That means you have not done git add, git rm, git mb. So that means you have not sent to staging area. So you can use the git clean. So let me show you some of the things through live. Okay, so it will not take much time. So git status, my workspace should be correct. Now I add one file. This is called file 4. Okay, now I added one file. You can see this file, and do I do git status, it will say the file is been not tracking. Okay, it says untracked file 4. Now my file, remember, is in working directory. Are you sure? Right. Cool. So whenever you have a confusion, just ask me, because this is all about the concept. If you understand the concept, you are very good in Git. Okay, so now I have a file in working directory. The file is file 4. So I realized like this, I have added this file by mistake because I wanted to add something else, but I added this file. So I do the git clean -f and enter it, and it will clean all of my files in this case. But if you want to specify some file, you can always specify. Okay, so be sure about it, whether you want to do with all or only with one file. Okay, so I just did, and it says like removing file 4. So whatever the file which was being non-tracked in working directory, they removed it. ls git status, done. Everything is done. Now let me add a file touch, sorry, file4.txt, and I want to add this file into my repository. So git add file 4. Okay, and now I have to commit this file. So now if you see that git status, it has gone to staging area. That is the reason it says unstaged. It has gone to staging area and it required a commit. Okay, but if you want to, from staging area, you want to move to working directory, then you have to do that. So what I have realized just now during my work, like I have added this file into staging area, but I have not put any content of the file. So that's the problem, right? That's the problem, because I should not commit any file without any content as a developer. So I have realized my mistake, and from staging area I want to move it to working directory. So what I'm going to do is git reset file4.txt, and now if I do the git status, it's gone into the working directory. So that is how, using git reset, you move from the staging area to working directory. Make sense?
Okay.
Confusion? Confusion?
No confusion.
Okay, cool. So that is how. But now, so I have realized, and I am going to make the changes. vi file 4 and text. Let me add few lines, and this is my fix, and git add file 4 and git commit. So this time I committed it. Okay, and git status, it's say. But suddenly git log, the moment if I do the git log, I realize, okay, the commit which I had sent it, that was not with the fix. Basically I did the wrong programming and I wanted to revert it back. Okay, so for that I have to have one more check-in, so that way I can revert it back. So remember, this is my fix, is the first command. This is my wrong fix. Okay, now if I do git add git commit, so I just quickly did git log. I have a 2 commit in file 4. Yep, that's true. So now I realize like file 4 .txt, whichever I sent it to my repository, was having wrong commit, wrong code. So I want to revert it back. So I'm going to revert it back to the last stage. So as of now, you see this cat file 4 is having the two lines. So this is my fix and this is my wrong fix. So I want to get rid of my wrong fix and go back to my fix. So git reset, revert file 4 bad revision. What is this bad revision? Okay, here there's a problem here. If you do the git revert and then file 4, that does not make any sense. You want to revert file 4 to what? You're getting my points?
Mm,
See, if you do that git clean or git reset, that makes sense because you want to move it the stage from working directory to out of this your workspace or staging to working directory. But if you do the git revert file name, that's not making any sense. You are reverting file names to what? To where you want to move it. You want to move it to staging area or working directory to what exactly? Git
yeah.
revert is the one which working only in the repositories, not relations with staging or working directory. Remember it. So you cannot move back. If you do the git revert, you cannot move back to staging area. Basically, whatever the commit you have it on the repository, you are reverting back. Remember. So here, instead of file name, you have to give the commit name. So for that, here you have a log, and you see that this commit has a first commit. How can I select it? Yeah, it's here. This commit is a wrong commit. This commit is a right commit. So that means I want to move to this commit 3 to 5 to 7. So I do git revert okay, that has a problem. By mistake. 437 git revert why is oh, I think I deleted that file. Okay, so let me reset this file. File 4. Yep. So now I just reverted it, and now if I do the git log, and let me show you through examples. 1.txt. Now if you look at it, I just reverted this one from this one.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted this one. I wrongly committed this one. I wanted to get back to this one. So I reverted this one. So this one and this one should same. So you wanna see this? 3, 4, 3, 7. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Basically, you don't have to copy whole command. First 7 character will work. So def copy paste is not proper. Oh, paste and this 4, 3, just 7.
Only first 7, okay.
7 first 7 character.
Okay. From that whole string only you're taking 7 characters.
Yeah. So you can see there is no diff. But if you see this here, 4, 3, 7, copy. But if you compare with the older one, it is having a diff. It is having a this because this is my wrong fix which was added. So I reverted back. I get rid of this and I reverted back to this stage. So make sense?
Yes, it
So
does.
yeah, so this is all about clean, reset, and revert. Okay, we also covered the git rm, we also covered the git mb, which is the renaming the file. Okay, let's get back to the ppt, which will give us the direction. Okay, so git workflow, yeah, we have completed this. So what are the operations we do normally? So if you want to do operation like bootstrapping, like creating a repo, checkout, and switching branches using checkout, you have done it. Okay. If you want to do the certain operation like adding, deleting, renaming of files, then you can do that using git add, git rm, git mb. Okay. Information. If you want to find out some information from of their status, so git status is the command. Git diff to see the difference between two commits or two branches or something like that. Git log will tell you how many commit it has it. Okay. If you want to collaborate with other people, then you do normally using the git clone, git pull, git fetch, git push. And if you want to do the reference and stuff like that, then you use git tag and git branch. So these are the normal operation we do that. So we have covered this one. We have covered bootstrapping, we have covered the information, we have covered the collaboration. We'll talk about the reference. Okay, let me add in my points. So we'll talk about the git branching and stuff like that. Okay, this is nothing but a commands which is we have. So if you want to see that, sometime if you want to see the option of commands which you are running, so it's the best way. Git help and suppose add. So these are the options you have it. Okay, so these are the options, you can see that here, and it has a description for each of the things. So if you have some operation related to add and you want to know specific characteristics of that particular things, then you better use this command. Okay, so git init we have covered. .git folder we talk about. Git add done, commit done, best practices is not so. Log we have completed. Okay, so there's a different ways to see the log also. It's not about you have only log command, you have many parameters, and some of them I'm discussing here. Like if you want to see the specific set of log like 4 log or 5 log and all, so you can also do like this. So I have a git log, I want to see only the last 2 logs, so like this, or only last 1 log like this. So you can also do that. You can also see the logs from a specific date using sense. Okay, you can also use the until. You can also the grep the log message basically. So if you can grep the message, like if any of the commit message has any display there, so using grep. So there are so many other options is there, and the same way I told you, git space help space the log will give you the list of parameters whatever you have it in your command. This characteristics we have already discussed. Workflow we have discussed. Commits we have discussed. This one we have discussed. Head is a repetition actually. Log status def. You can see the difference between two SHA-1 value. You can see the difference between the head and then older than head. You can see the difference between two branches which we'll cover in a while. I think these are the repetition. We have covered this git reset, git mb, git checkout we'll cover in branching, git reset we have covered, and remote branches we have already covered. Cloning, fetching, pull, checkout, remote we have covered. And some of the things which you want me to cover again, just do let me know, because it's I don't want to repeat the same thing again. Okay, advanced git replog is not clean we have just now covered. Show git show head, like it will just give you the information about the head, what it contains and stuff like that. So git show head, so it will tell you what are the it contains and stuff like that, who's your head and all kind of things. Okay, so these are some questions which I am going to ask you basically. because I think I have. So how Git store the changes? Can you tell me? And this has to be quick session. So this is answered by Sridhar.
How Git store the changes?
Huh?
You'll I mean, if you make a change, it will be in the working area, right?
No, no, no. How Git as a tool, how they store the changes? I have answered this question. Okay. Anyone? Madhu, Sridhar, anyone?
How it is storing the file of the changes. Hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to repeat once again, but be mindful about it. Okay, that's the reason we have a Q&A session. Git uses SHA-1 algorithm. Okay,
Okay.
okay, and SHA-1 algorithm is responsible for creating the checksum. Basically it's checksum is nothing but an object which has a few things like blobs, which is the content of the file, trees, which is the relationship of the file, and the commit message. So basically 40 character checksum is the object, is a reference to some object, and object is being managed by the SHA-1 algorithm. Make sense?
Yes, it's because yes. I wrote it down also. Note here created by SHA-1 algorithm. Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Responsible for
So
creating
let me tell
checksum.
you, this number is called checksum or commits, is been managed by SHA-1 algorithm, and this is the reference to some objects, and objects has a content of the file who has modified, that's called commit, and then relationship, that is called tree, with other files. Okay. Okay, next question. How to commit single file? It's very easy. Guys, commit. How to commit single file?
Just now we've done that, right? It's
Git space commit and then file name. That's all.
that just I mean, but say that from commit means it will commit to the repository.
Commit means
Commit to the,
commit command. We use it only to commit the repository.
that's all. So okay.
So guys, we have to do practice. I think until we practice it, we won't be able to get that concept at all. Okay. Okay. So for now, I am just going to repeat. I cannot git log output. So git log output is nothing but a the which contains your commit checksum value, who has modified, what what time it was modified, commit message, and all that. And this has a relationship with this one, and this is has a relationship with this one. All this relationship management is being done by your algorithm, that's called SHA-1. Okay. Next stage, how Git flow works. So Git flow has a three staging, three areas. One is workspace area, another is staging, and third is the repository. And if you create a files in your workspace, then that will not be tracked until you move to staging area using git add command. And the moment you add it, you have to commit it from the sending from the staging area to git repository. Okay, what is git reset? Git reset is the command using you move the file from the staging area to workspace area. Okay, how to undo the changes? So there's a ways to undo the changes. Undo the changes mean what you exactly want, whether you want the undo the changes from the staging area to repository, or you want the commit undo. So if you want to commit, you have committed the file and you want to undo the commits, then you have to use revert command. If you have moved the file wrong file to staging area and you want to get back to the working directory, then you have to reset the command, and that is how you undo the things. What is the difference between kill, pull and fetch? Madhu?
Close.
Sridhar,
Hmm.
Can you repeat it?
the question is on that screen. What is the difference between clone and pull and fetch? And we have done in the first session itself.
Clone is nothing but like a copy from the existing thing, right? And from that file, we'll make the modifications, not to the original.
And pull? Guys, you have to attend one more session, I believe, or you have to do the practice. So if you feel like last sessions is not you could not do the practice or it was not proper, you should attend the another classes which is coming on next weekend or something. This is important. We have forgotten that basic stuff also. Okay, so let me discuss in a while. Git clone, I'm going to explain it. Git pull. So you guys have pushed some code on GitHub, right?
In the first class.
Huh? Okay, and rest three questions is related to branching, which I'm going to cover in a while. Okay, so remember, clone is there's a concept in Git that's called remote repository. Okay, there's no concept in the Git like server. In a Git, there's a concept called remote repository. Using that, you can collaborate the work with each other. So for example, if Madhu and Sridhar, both of you is working with the Git and you have to collaborate with each other, so you have to do the pull push sort of thing, and you have to do that so with your repository label. So for Madhu, Sridhar repository will be your remote repository. Okay, and for Sridhar, Madhu's repository will be your remote repository. So if you want to get the remote repository whole source code and top of the all the configuration whatever is there, then you do the git clone. Okay, what it does the following activity: git init, git down. It's not a fetch the object, so it says something like git config, git fetch, and git push, git checkout. Okay, this is the git clone is something like is doing the 4 activities. Okay, the moment you do the git clone and the remote repository URL, maybe Madhu is doing for the Sridhar, then you do the git clone and URL, these 4 things will be performed: git init, git config, git push, git checkout. So first it will create an empty repository, then whatever it will add in your remote repository reference in your config, and then it will get all the objects whatever you have in your repository and then check out, so you can start working on that. But if you are not cloning, if you are working from the scratch, then you have to do this: git conf, git init, and after that you add files whatever you want, and then you want to add it the remote repository, you git config, push, and checkout, like this. So that's a clone actually. So either you do, if you're working on the for example, if you're working with your own repository, then you don't have to clone it because you have to add remote reference and pull fetch and all. But if you are starting working with other repository, for example, if you join new and you want to take a baseline of the other repository, then you have to clone it. So that is how we do in GitHub. GitHub has lots of repository, and we take that file and then we clone it actually. Okay, what is the difference between git pull and git fetch? I'm going to explain you in a while. Git fetch, git push, okay. So before that, let's move on to create a branching, and branching is somewhere related to this one also. So quickly, okay, so I want to see the list of branch whatever I have in my workspace. So I type command git branch -a. Okay, so I can see -a means all the branches. So git branch -a is will display all the branches. So as of now I have only one branch, that is called master. So so I want to create a different branch, and as you can see there's one star sign before the master. That means that particular branch you have checked it out. So I'm into that particular branch, I'm into master. The star sign shows that you are in that branch. So I want to create a new branch. So git branch, okay, branch Raj, okay, and I have created another branch called branch Raj. I want to see that. Now you can see the two branches. As of now, let me create one more branches, Rak. Okay, and I want to see the list of branches. This is the list of branches. So now I have a three branches. Okay, branch one, branch Raj, branch Rak, and master. So I want to work on the branch master. Remember, whatever the content it has in the master, it all the contents you have in the branch Rak also. So I want to work in the branch Rak. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check out the code. Okay, branch Rak. So I am doing branch. So as of now the star sign has moved to branch Rak. That means I'm in branch Rak. So if I do the Git status, I have not done anything. So, oh, this file was there, so let me get rid of this file. Again I do the Git status and nothing to commit. Okay, so now I'm going to modify some files. So file 4.txt, and this is in branch Rak. I'm adding this file, git add file 4.txt, git commit, adding in branch 4. Oh, sorry, branch Rak, and I've added. So git status, nothing to commit. Now I am into branch Rak. You see that branch. Okay, I'm into branch Rak. Now I want to differentiate between the git diff with master, and see, this is the difference. I added in my branch, this is the branch Rak, and this is the difference. So what I want to do, I want to merge it. So what I want to merge it, there's a difference between branch Rak and branch master. So let me tell you, whatever there is in master branch is there in branch Rak, but there is some new check-ins in branch Rak which is not there in master. Okay, just see that. So I have to check out the git master to merge it, master, and now I do the git diff again. I'm into master branch now. Now I do the diff of branch Rak, and this is the extra line which it has it in my other branch. So I have to merge it. So merge with what? Branch Rak. And now if I do the git diff, everything is okay. So that is how we create a branches, move into the branches, modify it, and merge it with the masters. So you create hundreds of branches, you work on those branches. Once you're done with that work, you merge back with the masters, and your master is updated. Make sense? Any questions?
No. So
Yeah, go on.
no, I'm just trying to follow so in all the changes you make in the branches, and that branch will again be merged to the master. Okay.
Master.
So
But to merge it, you have to come back to the master, because whatever the master has it, branch rack was having it. But whatever the branch rack added new one, which master was not having. So you have to come back to the master, source branch where you want to merge with, and then you have to merge it. Okay?
Okay.
Any other confusion?
No, but what is the command you used, Rajesh, to merge it back to the master branch?
Just merge. That's all.
Just merge. Okay.
That's merge and the branch name. That's all.
Okay, so it brings this whole changes from the branch rack and merges with master. Okay, got it.
That's
Okay.
good. Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Practice. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is very important, because I feel like you guys are not doing practice. So if you think like some of the topics which you have covered, which not still you are not getting it, so you can ask for that new session in ongoing batches, other batches, where the same topic is being covered. Okay.
Yeah. This one, like I said, Git was one of the first session. I think I missed this one. I joined the later second session onwards, so I think I didn't get this one. I will join with the ongoing session. I'll join this one.
Okay, so we talked about Git branching and merging already done. So we talked about the Git branching. Now you want to create a tag. So you feel like, okay, this is the master and I have reached to the release. So if you do the Git tag list, it is not having any tag. So I have to create Raj or my release 1.1. And now if I do the git tag, I have a one release. So that means now I have reached to the milestone, and I want to tag it because this is ready for the release one. So you are into that folder and you tag it, and this is how you tag it: git tag and the name of the tag, okay, of that current branch. Make sense? Okay, and if you want to check it out, that code of the tag branch, then you do like this, check out and that. So as of now, anyways, you are into that same thing, so it's not making any difference. Okay, but it's a checkout. As you can see, the star sign has been moved to the tag, not any branches. So, but in a tag you cannot work actually. Detached, detached from the release one or something like that. So you have to always work. I mean, you can still work in the tag also, but it's not a good practice. So you should always work in the master or any branches. Okay, you should not work in the tag. Okay, make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so this is all about the tagging. Let me talk about branch tag done, commit, pull. Okay, so this time I'm going to talk about I'm not going to clone it because everything it will be done. So it's just a spoon feeding. So let me do something like, let me have a GitHub quickly, one repo I want to quickly touch upon. And for example, I have a repository DevOps 2. Okay. So now I want to push my changes to DevOps 2. Okay, here the repository called DevOps 2. So for that I'm going to add git remote add, okay, origin is name can be anything. Just I'm putting the standard name because that way it's easy to recall that names. Okay, so I just put it here, done. And now you movement see that git config fig list, and you can see last two line has been added. That's called remote dot origin. This is the reference to another remote repos. So this can be any remote repos actually. Okay, here. So last two line has been added, and that's the reference. So now I want to push my changes to remote repo. So before pushing it, I have to get that. Okay, so now let me show you Git branch. As of now, only local branch is there, no remote branch. I have added one, but I have to fetch it to get in my local. So clear my screen, git fetch, and then what is you name of the origin? Yeah, origin, and let me fetch it. Now it's fetching. Now let me do the git branch, and as you can see here, we have a three branches, local branches, but one is in red, which is the remote branches, and you can see the reference of that: remotes, origin, master. Remotes means remote branches, origin means name of that remote branches for your reference, and master is the branch which is located at this place here. Okay, so now we have fetched it, but you might not see this in local. I've got this file. I've got this file. Just concentrate on this. This is very important concept. I have done only fetching the remote branches, but I have not got file here. So, but I wanted to get the file, but my current branch is master, so I'm working the master, and I want to get all this file here, nara file c nara one dot and all that stuff. I want to get this file, so I do merge from where remote origin remote origin master. Okay, now if I do ls, and I have all the files. Make sense? Okay, I'll repeat once again.
Okay.
No problem. I can repeat 100 times, but you have to ask questions actually.
Yeah.
Okay, so my repo was their master. My repo is their local, and I was into master branch. What I did, I added remote branches. That remote branches is origin. Okay, but just a reference. I just added git remote add, just the name of it, origin, and then URL. You just added the remote branch reference name. I have not done anything yet. Okay, so now if I do the git fetch and origin, what it will do, it will download the object from the remote branch and keep it in remote branch. Make sense?
Yes. Okay.
Here, let me tell you. Clear the screen, git branch. Sorry, it will display the remote branch as well. So I have just created a reference using git remote origin whatever, so using this URL, but I have not downloaded it. So the moment if I do git branch and remote reference name origin, it will just download it and keep it all the objects from the remote reference to remote's origin master. Okay, but I could not get that file, so that is the reason I merged. So I was in working the master, so I merged from the remote to master, so I can get all the objects whatever is there in remote origin master, I can get to master, and that is how I got the new files.
Okay.
Make sense?
I see. Yes. Now it does. Yes.
Yeah, but this is I explain you in a longer way. Okay, this is I explained you in the longer way. If you do the git pull, is equivalent to git fetch plus git merge. Make sense?
Okay. So it combines two operations in one actually.
Yeah. So it will do the git fetch, and next it will merge with your masters or the branch which you check it out. Okay?
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Now I have a files which I created, file 4 and files C, file 1, file 3 or something, which is not there in my repository here. It's not there. I can see that it's not there. So I need this file to move it to this place. So this is called Git Push, where I send my files to the remote repository. So Git Push, and I have to give the name of that where actually I want to push that. So I have to set master. Okay, so what I'm doing as part of this command, Git Push, and origin is the name of my remote repository. This is the one. So I need some name where you want to push it. So this is the name, origin, and which branch you want to push it to master. And that's the reason I did it. I already done it, so it will not be done. So if the moment I refresh this page here you have a extra files, file 4 and file 3, I believe. Okay.
Okay.
So this is all about the branching, merging, and all the stuff. So let me see what I'm missing here. So let me get rid of this file. Git clone gun, pull, fetch, merge, push, everything is done. Okay, cool. So this is all about the Git session. So Git help is covered, Git log is covered, diff is covered, branch is covered, work in parallel is covered, merging is covered, checkout covered, LHS2 you can reset is covered, log, remote is covered, clone is covered, fetch is covered, pull is covered, Git push is covered, remote. And remote reference, if you want to delete that any remote repository, this is just non-referencing it. So git push origin, you want to delete origin, then non-tracking hyphen non-tracking, and it will delete that one. Pull versus reverse, done. Okay, so I think Git is almost done. Only one topic which remains is a Git Rebase, which I will ask you to join in other session because you have not done the practice. So Git Rebase is one of the super advanced topic in Git, which basically rewrite the history. So until you understand what exactly the history, what exactly the commit, what exactly the logs, you'll not be able to make out exactly. Okay. So
Okay.
just do as much sessions you want, I mean as much practice you want it, and then Git Rebase, just you send me reminder through email or message or whatever it is you want to connect it. I will just tell you when to attend. Okay.
Okay.
So almost all the commands whichever is needed for you to work on the GitHub remote repository has been covered. So let me do the recap a little bit. Okay, starting with Git init. You, and if you don't know the use of it, ask me. Git init we covered, Git add we covered, Git commit we covered, Git log we covered, Git status we covered, Git pull we covered, Git push we covered, Git fetch we covered, Git clean we covered, Git reset we covered, Git revert we covered, Git merge we covered. What else? What else? Git diff we covered, Git clone we covered, and Git rm which covered, Git mb which covered, Git ls covered, Git show is covered. What else? Git config is covered. Git
Checkout.
config. Git remote is covered. Okay, so these are the commands we have covered. We might have covered a few more. Git help we have covered. So these are the covers. Any push, any commands if you have still questions on it for now?
No.
Anyone?
No.
Madhu, Sridhar?
No. For now, I'm okay with these, Rajesh. Thank you.
Cool. Okay. So now next topic is advanced Git done. Shell scripting. So how many of you have worked with the shell scripting before?
Mm, I haven't.
Okay, Madhu, what about you? Madhu, Madhu, are you there? Okay, so meanwhile Madhu will join us once again. Let's have a 5 or 10 minutes break and then we'll join again. Okay?
Okay, sure.
Sure. Thank you.